Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sal, and today we're going to be breaking down this much easier to digest slate. 3-game slate on Sunday in the NBA after an 11-game slate yesterday, where we obviously see high scoring on those slates because there's more players involved. It's nice to kind of get this small little refresher before the week starts up again if you're going to be playing today. If you're new here, my name is Sal, and I cover daily fantasy sports in the NFL, NBA right now, and what will be the MLB streets. What I try and do is give you guys as much value as possible. I try and give you the tools at least early in the day to start your Draftkings, FanDuel, whatever it might be, your process for DFS. I'm not trying to give out picks here. I'm not trying to just feed you for one time. I'm trying to actually teach you how to do all of these things because that's where the value comes in, right? We've been getting great growth in about 5 months. We're approaching 3,000 subscribers. So if you're watching this video today, we're probably going to get a decent amount of reach since it's a weekend. The game's starting a little earlier hurts, but decent amount of reach. If you can hit that thumbs up button, it helps me a ton. And also consider subscribing if at any point you get value. I'd love to give you that little push and get you into the community. If you're returning here, you know how much I appreciate you. This community is growing so much, and we're churning towards my goals right now of just trying to make this into my career. So you know how much I appreciate you. Hit me with that thumbs up. Greatly appreciate it. A couple of housekeeping things before we do get into this 3-game slate. People have been asking about the projections. I've gotten good feedback about the projections after 2 days now. Some little twists and turns in them that just have to get cleaned up, but nothing major each time. But this is where you can get my projections. I've already talked about it, Patreon. Basically, it's just a better site for content creators in terms of YouTube or Twitch. Patreon just only takes out 5% compared to like 60%. So, I mean, it just makes sense, right, to move those projections over to a site like this. So there'll be a link down below. You can come over to Patreon. You can join the community. It'll prompt you to sign up through Discord. So make sure just to follow those instructions. You can sign up through Discord. It's very easy. And once you're in there, let me know that you're in there. Let me know if you're having any problems. I want to make sure we get all the patrons in their right proper spot so you can get their projections. So definitely check that out. And then, yeah, so speaking of Discord, if you don't know what it is, it's just a group chat app. And you can see here I posted the link to Twitch, which is where we're streaming from right now. And I mean, we're just talking in here all night about sports. I mean, it's growing. It's about 100 people now. So come in. I mean, it's completely free. These channels are free. This is where the paid Discord, Twitch subs, Patreons, they'll get theirs. But free chat here that's active pretty much all day for the NBA, and I'm sure it will be for the other sports as well. So be sure to check that out. We're going to hop into this bad boy, though. And also, I guess I'll mention is that people have been asking me about a coaching call or things like that. I did put a coaching call tier on here, 1-hour coaching call. I might have to edit it, but I'll go in there. So you can, if you're interested in something like that, in terms of me either reviewing your lineup and just saying, based on the lineup you played last night, where you went wrong, if you're just trying to get some help, or just in general, you kind of would just come to the table with a few of your lineups from the past days or nights or whatever it is, slates, and I would kind of break down where I think you made the mistakes or where you can improve your game, sort of in like a consulting fashion, not just coming to the table and me giving you general advice, but specific to your lineup is how I'm envisioning that, right? Because I want to see what your tendencies are and I want to help you improve those. So you can do that also on Patreon. I'm trying to give you guys as much value as possible and much ways I can give you my time in a one-on-one manner that works for the both of us. So those are just the housekeeping stuff. We'll get this bad boy underway. We're on Twitch right now, actually. I'll throw this one in there, and you guys can join us down below. Live streaming platform. We have people in here. Is there a bunch of value on this slate? We just had a question. Yeah, we're going to get into it. I mean, 3-game slates, the pricing is usually different, right? You're not going to get the same prices as you would on a 6 to 10 game slate just because they kind of have to mix the puzzle that way. Haven't dug too deep into it, but yeah, there's going to be value on the slate. But I think this is a pretty straightforward slate, and I'll get into that. So really, injury and status news. There's really not much outside of DeAndre Jordan is doubtful today, which gives a big bump to a guy like Mitchell, which is where that value conversation comes in. Big bump to a guy like Cornette. We don't know who will start at the 5 yet, but either way, these guys are going to become valuable. Noah Vonleh at the 4. He'll probably see some 5 minutes now, which we love out of Noah Vonleh. If for some reason Noah Vonleh is going to get the start at the 5, we could expect him then to get more minutes overall in the game. He becomes a great play. Noah Vonleh is somewhat turned to dust as of late. LaMarcus Aldridge and Derek White are probable. White's coming back from this injury. I don't think he will be limited at all, but we might see maybe instead of his 30 minutes per game around a 28. Not really sure I'm interested there anyways. Trey Lyles is out, so outside of DeAndre Jordan, this is the only other really big news. Again, small slate. We're used to seeing a lot of injury news. Trey Lyles being out, it's going to open up more minutes for a guy like Mason Plumlee. It's going to open up more minutes and secure Paul Millsap's minutes potentially. Whenever you can get Paul Millsap over around 27, maybe 26, around 27 or more minutes, you feel really good about him, usually at his price. He's priced up on this slate, but you can still feel good about him. Has a spectacular matchup against the Clippers, just absolutely dreadful at rebounding. Just don't name those size out there, really. And then Kadeem Allen. I was unaware of this, but apparently this happened on Friday. He got sent back to the D-League, so it's going to affect Moutier, who came back and saw his minutes right pretty much where they were. Trier got 30 minutes, I believe, in the last game. And DSJ was very interesting on this slate to me because he didn't play the last 20 minutes of the last Knicks game. And I made a tweet about it, and it was my mistake. I didn't even know Kadeem Allen was out. I was just looking at the last game stats. But Trier played 30 minutes. Obviously, Damian Dotson, 7 of 16. He took a lot of shots. He got the hot hand, maybe. I don't know why they kept him in too much. Moutier came back, so that's definitely going to impact DSJ's, or it looks like it impacted DSJ's minutes. I never really thought it would because, you trade for this guy. But again, it's a one-game sample size. We have to watch that. But DSJ seems very, I would say, risky today. Definitely a good GPP play because we know what his ceiling is. Triple-double upside, of course. But with Moutier back, that first game, it just didn't look good. The 20 minutes out, it wasn't even a blowout or anything like that. It was a 10-point game, pretty much the whole game at the most. So definitely concerning. Not really sure there. I was looking on Popcorn Machine for some just no foul trouble, nothing. So I'm not sure what happened there. So this is all the injury news. It seems like DeAndre Jordan is going to be out. It's going to be a bump for all those guys. And whenever the Knicks are on a slate like this happened a couple weeks back on a 3-game slate. It feels awful because there's just so many guards that you don't know really who to play. Trier, Dotson, now Moutier, DSJ, and now DeAndre Jordan. Once again, I think this happened last time. DeAndre Jordan is going to be out, so Mitchell Robinson, Luke Cornett, who's going to be the guy. So that's just what I'm looking at right now. Let's go over to the target offense sheet, which is going to be as small as you'll ever see the target offense sheet, gang. So target offense. We got 3 games today. And really not that many great games. All these spreads are around 8 or higher. We can quickly look at this Vegas sheet. It's not complete, so it looks a lot worse than usual. I'm just using it to get stuff into projections. You can see the lines are just indicating not the greatest of games. But if we go back to target offense, we do have decent totals, right? 220 is what I like to target or more. Pretty much all 3 games are around that. We have one that stands out at 232. That's going to be your Clippers, your Denver game. But all these games, yeah, they don't seem like they'll be the greatest of games, not the biggest of spreads, right? We're not seeing 12-point spreads here, but 8.5, 9. Blowout potential, people like to kind of pull from those things. I just potentially wouldn't, especially on a 3-game slate. What are you going to fade all 3 of these games? No. So don't factor that in at all today. I would say not at all. But in terms of the games you're looking at, yeah, it's nothing great, right? When you see this Knicks and San Antonio game, a lot of stuff, for me at least, doesn't really stand out. Pace is pretty dreadful. Over-under is, yeah, it's there. But there's just so many moving pieces on this Knicks team. I do like the centers. Obviously, today you have to find value. In terms of San Antonio, and we'll get to this, I do like a good amount of San Antonio just because I like where their price points are at relative to other players on this slate. Denver, I love Denver today. I love Denver's bigs today. Anybody against the Clippers is similar to like last night, Tyler Johnson, and anybody going up against Atlanta at the point guard position. It's sort of an open door for you to get what you want. And we have maybe the top 3 fantasy center in the game, maybe top 4. I don't know what you want to call Jokic, probably a top 3, right? I don't know who else to put in that category. Towns and Embiid, right? So Jokic starting against this just seems like a killer, and we'll get to that. So what you're looking at here, if this is your first time here, is just possessions. Projected pace is just possessions per team per game. So obviously the more possessions is the more fantasy points you're going to see, more pure scoring, double-double, triple-double, upside, assists, rebounds, whatever it is, turnovers as well. So you always want to factor that in where it correlates with the over. You can see the highest pace game today is the highest over-under. You'll see that quite a bit, but not always. And then these are just how the specific team defends the position over the last 30 days relative to the rest of the league in terms of Draftkings points. So you can see that today, Orlando going up against Toronto. They're pretty good against the point guard position, and that's just indicated by the red here. You can see that Denver center, which is Jokic, is just in an absolute smash spot against the Clippers. And it's a 3-game slate, and I don't know how you don't own this guy today. Last night I was chatting with a friend, and I said, how do you become sharp today and fade Jokic? You don't. And we'll get into that. And if you have my projections, you can clearly see why you don't. Again, if you want the projections, little plug for them, head over to Patreon right here. Just a quick button, you click join, you got to make a Discord, it's an app, and then you got to integrate it through Discord. I put a little reminder here actually for everybody, whether you're already integrated or not. I think there's like 3 people who still aren't in. Just follow this step by step on how to integrate. It's just so that you never get booted, because there's a bot that controls the app that we use, and if you kind of go in not in the proper way, it might boot you at a random time. So make sure to keep up with that. So yeah, target offense sheet. I'll throw this into the Discord afterwards. Take a little screenshot of it, throw it in the Facebook group. So check this out for sure. It's good information to have all in one spot. So early interest, and this is going to be a little bit quicker. So I had somebody reach out yesterday. Don't know who you are. Honestly, don't even remember your name. Saying that all I do is give out studs, which I don't know if we went through yesterday's video. Well, let's backtrack. These are not picks, right? These are just early interests. Today it's a little bit easier because the games start at 3 instead of 7, and it's only 3 games, so I'm not expecting a ton of injury news to drop today, right? So yesterday, somebody just said you only give out studs, which I don't think is the case, and I don't think I give out any picks. I'm just giving early interest based on the slate. Obviously, yesterday, the amount of news that broke, any of my early interests had the same effect, right? They weren't the same as good of a play once all the news broke, even if they were a good play early on. So first off, these are just to kind of get your mind where the slate's at, let you know who you should be targeting, and then if an injury happens, that's why we go over the injury dashboard, who you should pivot to or something like that. So in the fact that I only give out studs, it's only fitting that I put bang bang number 1 right up here, bang bang Jokic. If you don't think that he should be on this early interest page and you think that I'm only giving out studs, then, man, I don't know what to tell you today, because there's not a better player on this slate in a better position at only 10-2. And I say only 10-2 because this man could easily be 10-8 on a slate like this. Yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. Jokic in cash. In tournaments, I understand that on a 3-game slate, we might get 90% Jokic today. I really do think that, maybe even more. It's a 3-game slate. He's clearly the best option. He clearly has the highest projected points by a good amount, and you'll see that in my projections. I don't know how you get away from him. And look, there's always leverage, and I talk about 3-game slate strategies. I have videos on it. There's small game slate strategies where, yeah, you fade guys when they get to a certain percentage. I don't know how you do that today with Jokic. The matchup is just calling for it. The slate itself is calling for it. And this is what I mean by this slate is straightforward. You have value plays that seem straightforward in the Knicks centers, whoever it might be. And you have Jokic, who just seems like the only real stud on the slate. I know you have Vooch on the slate. I know you have Kawhi, but the only one that you really want to pay up for here, and the value lets you pay up for that. So in terms of this slate, I think if you're making GPP lines, there might be some merit into having 80% Jokic, but I wouldn't. I'd probably go 100% today on him. Hope that the field only goes 80. I think they'll be closer to 90. 3-game slate. It's just going to be one of those slates where maybe it's not even worth playing. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to have some fun today, make some lines, try and make some money. But when the whole field knows the guy to play, and that pretty much indicates the rest of lineup construction, it's very hard to set yourself apart in GPPs and even in cash to an extent. And in cash, if you're fading Jokic, you're about to lose all your money today, so don't do that. The man's going to be 90+% owned, and he's probably going to go off. It's just in the unlikely scenario that, I don't know, an injury happens or just a blowout happens super early. In a tournament, maybe you can gain leverage, but I don't think so. So, yeah, in terms of Jokic today, I've talked a lot about him. This is the most I've talked about a player on these interests before. Again, I never talk about a player this much because I don't know how confident I'll be a couple hours from then, and it's usually a bigger slate, so you don't always have to stick to one guy. It just seems obvious here, and I think that you guys already know that. So that's my stud of the day. But no. So that's what that is. The next one is Mitchell Robinson, and this is why you can get up to Jokic. I mean, there's a lot of other reasons. Luke Cornett right below him. If we're going to get DeAndre Jordan out news, which one do I like better here between Mitchell Robinson and Cornett? Do I like either of them? Yeah, I like either of them, right? I love whoever starts at the 5. You guys know that I love people starting at the 5. Cornett, if he starts at the 5, or even Von Lay somehow, which I don't foresee happening, I like Cornett better because he's going to start the 5-1 and he has the power forward eligibility, which you guys know I love. It will then allow us to get at least 1 to 2 more centers in our lineup, right? You could put Jokic in the center slot. You could put Luke Cornett, if he starts at the 5, in your power forward slot. You could even then double it up with Robinson if you really wanted in the utility spot. And just getting as many power forwards as you can that are centers into the lineup. On a 3-game slate, if you can roster 4 centers somehow, you're feeling really good about that, right? So Cornett will allow you to do that because power forward eligibility. Lou Williams today, $7,000. Yeah, so Lou Williams I actually like today a lot, and it all depends on this guy in terms of just will he get the usage or will he get the minutes. But at the same time, Lou Williams, we know in 22 minutes can go for 40 fantasy points, right? But now that no Tobias Harris is there, and he's kind of been the leader of this second team, but now taking over the first team when the game moves on a little bit. If we can project Lou Williams for around 30 minutes, which, spoiler alert, I have him for around 30 minutes, you have to feel good about that, right? And on a small game slate, when you want to build tournament lineups, you want the guys to have upside, right? And I think Lou Williams has the most upside if you're choosing between a guy like Lou Williams or Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith Jr., minutes in the air, you don't really know what's going on there. I mean, I think Lou Williams will also be higher owned. But and then in terms of cash, I also like Lou Williams because, yeah, if I'm projecting him for 30 minutes in this offense with his usage rate around 30% or 25% for a guy who's coming off the bench, what is it right here? Yeah, it's 33% now for Lou Williams. Now Tobias Harris is out there. That's absolutely insane. That's shadows anything else on this slate. Look at that. Smashes it. So, yeah, Lou Williams, like that a lot, $7,000. I'm fine with it in cash because, yeah, sure, Lou Williams can dud at $7,000 and only get you, I don't know, 26 points, 28 points. Sure, that could be his floor or maybe a little bit higher than his floor. But he's probably more likely to get you around 33 to 35 if he duds today on a slate like this, on a matchup like this. You kind of take that. And then we know Lou Williams has triple-double 60-point upside in his back pocket. So I like to have that ceiling, but also a pretty decent floor on a 3-game slate. It just elevates you, puts you above a lot more people if you can get anywhere near their ceiling. Paul Millsap, this is one of the guys who on a 3-game slate is priced up. He was way too cheap last time out at 4,600, smashed for like 40-plus points. Has a great matchup again today. I mean, the power forward spot and the center spot against this Clippers team, they just smash, right? It's because rebounding. Rebounding is just something that these guys get. They get offensive boards, they get second chance opportunities to score, and then they just absolutely smash this Clippers team. Zubac is not stopping anybody out there. Gallo is now healthy, but he's not the most intimidating number 4. He's more of a stretch. So Paul Millsap also in a good spot, although he is $1,500 more than he last was. So keep that in mind. Jamal Murray, not a guy that I really like to ever play. He seems like he's appropriately priced. I keep getting people in the industry saying he's a little underpriced. He should be $6,600. But honestly, I don't see it. I don't see this guy going off as much as he had. And now with Isaiah Thomas out there slowly starting to eat minutes back up, it makes you think. So Isaiah Thomas went from like 13 to 14 minutes. So, I mean, maybe he's not even eating minutes up. But he is back there taking more minutes away from, obviously, Monty Morris. And if he's going to be point per minute productive in fantasy, that means he's doing it in real life, Thomas. So always a wonder. Jamal Murray, 6,300. Tournament, fine. Cash, I don't know if I'll go there. Evan Fournier, I put next to his name consistency because he is consistent, and he's priced at a point where in cash he's a good play. 5,800, and also in tournaments on a 3-game slate he's a good play because if you get anybody to get around 35 points today, if they're below, obviously, like a Jokic price, you're feeling good. So 5,800 for a guy who is pretty much now priced at what his average is, around 27 points on the year. He's been pretty consistent around 30 over the past month of the year. So I do like him. I have Pascal Siakam in red, and this is because he's not an early interest, and I want to point this out. Siakam's going to be a guy because he's power forward center eligibility who's going to get put in a lot of lineups today. They're going to see recency bias. $7,100, though, is a little bit too much for Siakam. And this is probably the 3-game slate running in here, but Siakam at 7,100. This is a guy that you liked playing at 6,500, 6,400. Last time out, 6,700 was even a stretch. Now he's 7,100. Spoiler alert, I'll give you guys this one. I have him projected for about 29.5, 30 fantasy points today in terms of his median projection. Obviously, his differentiation, if he's in a tournament, that can vary. But in terms of cash median projection, again, plug if you want them, head over to Patreon. Head over to the Discord to chat with us. 30 points isn't going to get you there. And on a slate like this, I don't want to spend up there. I think there's better options. Aaron Gordon, 6,500. He's similar to guys like Al Horford for me. And I mentioned this yesterday and then I kind of jinxed it. So where's the wood? Let's knock on it. Because Al Horford yesterday goes for 28 points after starting with 17. And is a dud in my lineup. But I usually play Al Horford in cash when he's at appropriately priced at 6K or below, whatever he is. And Aaron Gordon is still hovering around this 6,600 or below price tag, as he should, right? He's averaging around 33 points on the year. As of late, he's averaging around 35 points on the year. At $6,500, 35 fantasy points, that'll get you there in cash, honestly. And on a slate like this, it probably will as well. And we know he has the 50-point upside. He has a floor of around probably 30 points, just the way that he's been playing as of late. And if he has a ceiling of 50, I kind of like that range. I mean, obviously his floor is probably more so like 20. But if you want to talk about his consistency as of late, point per dollar, I do like Aaron Gordon today. And I usually do. These things keep coming up. Got to get those out of there. So, Marcus Aldridge at $7,500. I like it. He's been dudding as of late. I do like it at $7,500, and that's similar to like Siakam, $7,100. I'd rather pay up for a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge here. Not much more I'll say about that. He's another guy who's power forward center eligibility, so you can very realistically go Nikola Jokic, Luke Kornet in the power forward, LaMarcus Aldridge in the forward spot, and then fit another center if you want in your lineup or something like that, right? Obviously, that's just a way that you could go about it. Rudy Gay, $5,700, just similar to Aaron Gordon in that I think he'll get somewhere around his median or his value today at a good spot, at a good clip. More times than not, $5,700 seems like a good price for Rudy Gay starting at the 4. I do like him to get around 28, 32 points today, median projected wise. And $5,700, you take that. DeRozan. So, do I like DeRozan today? Overall, I haven't built lineups yet. I feel like if I'm going to play Jokic, he's going to be a little bit too expensive, but we'll see. I do like DeRozan in terms of what you're getting point per dollar. Over Kawhi Leonard, over even Vooch, I think DeRozan, his projections are going to get him right around those two players, and you're going to be saving $1,500 or more. So I do like DeRozan in terms of his point per dollar if you're going to try and get up off of those other two guys up there in Vooch and Kawhi. I do think Kawhi goes under-owned today. I think a lot of guys do. I think Vooch goes under-owned based on the fact that he's the next most expensive center to Jokic. So if for some reason, if you're going to be seeing Vooch getting, which is possible today, I mean, he could go for 54 and Jokic can go for 54, then you have some leverage in terms of what you could do with the rest of your salary. So DeRozan, I like point per dollar. I think it's going to be interesting to see how people, or at least the ownership on Jokic, I think it's going to be insane on a 3-game slate. I think it's going to be 85 plus. But Vooch's ownership should really be suppressed. It might be below, which is insane to say. Some people will get both of them in their lineup. I don't know if Vooch will be higher coming in than 20% today. We'll have to see, though. That seems low, but I don't know on a 3-game slate with a spot like Jokic is in. Maybe I'm just seeing this, and not a lot of public people will be. But the public in the NBA is much sharper than any other sport. It's because it's every single day. You have to kind of just stick to the grind, and you have to force yourself to know the information, whereas in the NFL, you can be a casual fan, and a lot of people are. So, that's it, gang. I will quickly plug, it's the end of the video, it's pretty short, but I'll quickly plug Draft Dashboard today. They're going to be sponsoring today's video. Pretty much, I just use Draft Dashboard for my research. They do have a lineup optimizer. I've gotten some good feedback about that. People have been able to build some good lineups, make some profits. But I use them. They do have projections or their rankings here. I use them in terms of trying to figure out usage rates, opponents. I look at their projections, compare them to mine. I would like to see minutes projections here, and I think that's something they're working on. They do have ownership today. They have Jokic at 80% owned as their early look. They update this throughout the day. Honestly, that seems about right. I think it might even be a little bit low, but it's for a site like this, it's usually dangerous to try and project 90% because that's kind of taking a stand, whereas even though it might be probable, it's not optimal because you're just taking a pretty big stand there. So, yeah, they have just researched. They have their projections, all this. You could try it 30 days for $1 down below. There'll be a description. If people in the Twitch want it, you just do !dashboard. And it'll be 30 days for $1. It's a promotion that you can get through me. And you can test it all out. You can build lineups, use optimizers, whatever you want to do here. But it's a cool tool for research time, cutting it down. I definitely use it. And I compare it with my projections as well. So one last time, get in the Discord, guys. There's a free link down below. You can chat with us all day. It's fun. If you don't have a ton of friends that play DFS, hop in here because there's a lot of good people in here, like-minded people. And lastly, one last plug, head over to Patreon if you do want to try and get a coaching call with me. If you guys have any other feedback for me in terms of what I can give you in these packages, like we have the projections. I'm going to be coming out with another projections for FanDuel. I'm going to just make a little package. You can get both, something like that. And then the coaching call. If you guys have anything else you would like to see from me or me offering, please let me know. Like, I'm completely open to it. I love the ideas. So that's what we're going to end with, is a small 3-game slate. I'll probably be back around 2:30, 2:45 today because why not? I don't got much going on. Do a little live before lock type action. But there's not much to talk about. I don't foresee any major news happening today. So, yeah. Maybe we'll get Nikola Jokic ruled out, and that'll blow up everything. That'd be really interesting, actually. So, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button before you go. Comment below who you think will be the highest point per dollar scorer today, and whoever. And I waited to the end to do this. Whoever finds out, whoever will be that highest point per dollar scorer on the entire slate today, you're going to get a $5 in PayPal if you're that one person who gets it in a little bit of a raffle. So comment that down below. Thank you guys so much. We hit 2,800 subscribers. You guys rock. My name's Sal. You already know that. Peace out, gang.